Hey guys, it's Lisa and welcome to my channel. So today we're going to do a couple of, actually one wood project. We're going to make a church. And my husband's measuring 2 fencing boards at 18 inches tall. And then he's cutting a 45-degree angle on the top. And these are going to be the sides of the church. Then he's taken a board that he stripped down to 4 inches wide, and he cut that one 30 inches long, and now he's measuring 4 inches down and then angling that up to the center, and then he'll cut that, and that will be the pitch of the steeple. So the 2 sides are 45-degree angle, and then the steeple is measured from center down 4 inches. So now this could be done if you don't like to do if you don't like to work with wood, or you don't have the saw to work with wood. Then this could be done with a piece of cardboard. So you could just get a stiff piece of cardboard, or you could get one of the styrofoam poster boards, and you could actually do this out of cardboard. But this fencing board is very easy to cut, and it's inexpensive, and we usually keep several of these on hand for wood crafts like this. So I'm painting this in the color buttercream, and I'm not painting it solid. I'm just kind of haphazardly painting it, and I don't bother painting the very back of it. I do paint the side down the sides. And I didn't mention that I glued that with wood glue and then added some staples in the back. So once I got this painted and let it dry well, then I'm going to be doing some decoupage on this. And I bought some sheet music at an estate sale several years ago, and I have just so much of it. And I found this old sheet music here, and it just has a completely different look than my other sheet music, and they've even written in some places, and I just really love the way that looks. But so I'm just tearing this up, and I always like to tear the sides off because I don't want that straight line anywhere. So I just very carefully tore that off, and then I'm just going to tear this into pieces. And I'm not going to try to decoupage it solid. I'm just going to kind of add pieces here and there because I actually want some added texture with this, because we're just going to piece it until most of it is covered. And I kind of like having some little areas here and there that have just a little bit missing. I feel like that adds to the texture. So I just keep decoupaging this until I get enough of it covered, and then I'll let it dry well. And once I let it dry well, then I'm going to take it outside and use my orbital sander on it. And so I'll sand around all around the edges to smooth those edges, and also do some distressing around the edges. And then and even the sides of the area with the steeple. But I'm also going to, and I'll have to let this dry well before I do it, but I'm also going to take that sander and sand the flat surface on the front with the decoupage on it, because that's going to add some aging look to it. And in the areas where I have more texture, it will obviously sand those a little bit more, and it creates a real pretty look, I think. Now I'm making this very large because I want it on a mantle. And so I want it to be substantial so that I can put it on one side of the mantle, because in this video I'm going to be decorating a mantle that I have at work. And I know this is early, but people are already buying fall items from my store. Actually, I'm selling more fall items right now than any other, so I just figured it was time to get that mantle decorated. I usually try to decorate the mantle first when I'm bringing in a new holiday decor, or a new seasonal decor. So now I've made me a little template out of cardboard in the shape of a cathedral window. So I'm just kind of carefully placing that where I want my window to be. And I'm going to use this same template for both windows, or actually 3 windows, and the door. So I'm using a stencil here that has some texture in it, and taking some eyeshadow and going over that stencil, and that's going to create that stained glass window effect. And I'm just doing this in one solid color. You could actually add different colors, but I'm just trying to keep this with a certain color scheme. So that's all I'm going to be doing with this. And yes, this does stick really well to this. So I use that same template and just kind of eyeball where I want that window, and try to even it up with the other one, and use the eyeshadow on that. So to make this template, I just took some cardboard and cut out, or drew my window a little larger than I wanted the window. And then I just cut that out, and then I folded it in half and cut just a little smaller window out of it, and then that made me a little frame, and that's what I used as a template. I wish I could say that it was easier than that, but it was a little bit of a pain, but I really didn't know any other way to do this. So here I'm just taping that off so that I can use this same window as a door. And then I just remove that little piece on the bottom, and then I have my door. And for my door, obviously I don't want that stained glass look. So I just take a brush and use the browns in the eyeshadow template, and I just kind of brush that straight down, trying to keep the wood grain in one direction. And I don't really want this to be solid anyway, so I just kind of, I'm good with it being a little darker in areas than in others. And I do go back then with a small paintbrush and take that dark brown and just go around all the edges of the windows and the doors, just to kind of give them some definition. And now I'm stenciling the scripture on here, and this is Psalm 46:10, actually one of my favorites. And I'm stenciling with the color Pine Cone. That's a Dixie Belle color. I wanted to keep it, I didn't want to go too harsh on the color, so that's why I chose this color. Now I did have to leave that curly thing off of the K, but it worked out just fine, but that wouldn't have fit on here, so I just left that part off. And then, like I said, after I finish this and it dried, then I take this back outside and give it a heavy sanding with my orbital sander. And I want to really, really distress around the edges well, and then I actually distress quite a bit on the surface, just not anymore where my stencil is, or the windows and doors. Now I could have gone back over this with an antique wax, but I wanted that I wanted it to be lighter because of the vignette that I'm putting it in. Now, I thrifted this scroll, and this is just pressed wood, and I thrifted it with the intention of repainting it. So, I'm just going to give this a couple of coats of the color Buttercream. And so I'm going to paint the surface of this and down the sides and bottom. And then I'm going to paint the rod at the top. And I'll use the same color for that. I'm going to be removing the hanger because I want to just use some torn fabric for the hanger. So I'm going to be pulling those staples off in the back and replacing it with just more of a rustic looking hanger. And then once this is dry, then I'm going to distress the rod at the top. And then I took some Bible pages and I just kind of laid the Bible in the tray of my print, or the top of my printer, and made some copies of Bible pages. So that's what I'm going to be using to cover this scroll with. And again, I don't want any of the straight edges. So what I do is I just put my Mod Podge on the entire surface, and then I put each piece down and then just tear the one that overlaps it. So you won't see any of the straight edges. Anywhere that I'm overlapping, then I just kind of tear that away, being careful that I don't tear too much away. But like I said, I just don't want those straight edges showing at all. And then once I get this covered and I let it dry well, then I'm going to be adding some antiquing glaze to this. And I used the Dixie Belle in Van Dyke Brown. And I said once I got this done, but what I did is I went back over this with a top coat, and this is just a Dixie Belle top coat. You could use more of the Mod Podge, or you could use a spray matte finish, but I wanted to give this some extra protection before I add the glaze, because my fear is that the glaze would take too dark. And so if you give it a good top coat first, then it's going to be easier to wipe the excess off. So that's why I did some extra protection before I did this. I wanted it to look aged, so I felt like I really needed to do the glaze on it. But like I said, I just wanted to make sure that I got those pages coated really well first so that they didn't soak up too much of this glaze. And I was happy with the amount that was left on it. So I make sure and add that glaze around the edges. And then I'm also going to be adding the glaze to the rod at the top. And if I had thought about this part, then I wouldn't have added that hanger yet. So I just had to hold that hanger down in the back so that I didn't get any of this glaze on it. But ideally, I would have added that hanger after this step. And then once this is dry, then I'm going to be adding a stencil, and I just chose one that I felt like fit well, but went along with this theme. So the stencil that I chose was "Oh How He Loves Us." And I thought it fit really well on this, and I thought it went really well with this theme. Then I decided to do this in the Caviar, which is a dull black color, because I wanted it to show up well, since I used this antiquing glaze. And also the black will go along with the lettering on the Bible pages. So once I finish this scroll, I'm going to be decorating my mantel, as I said before. in the store. So I'm just going to kind of take you through the process of decorating that mantel, and then that will be this video. I think it's amazing the difference that the simple things that we did to this scroll changed this up. It looks like a totally different piece now, and it was actually pretty easy to do. So now we're going to be moving on to that mantel, and I'm just going to kind of take you through decorating it. And actually, although I love to decorate, this is the part of videotaping that I don't like, because I never have liked cameras. I never have liked having my picture made or being on film at all. And why I decided to do this, starting a YouTube channel, I don't know. But like I said, I do not like cameras, and I was very happy when I could figure out a way to do this without having to be on the camera, much. But occasionally I have to do things like this, and you can probably tell that I'm very awkward with the camera. But I'm just kind of taking you through this and showing you how I put this together. And I'm not going to try to talk you through this. I feel like that would just be too much talking. So I'm just going to play a little music and let you watch me finish decorating. I hope you guys enjoy this video, and I hope to see you in the next. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great evening, and God bless you and your family.